Please welcome Mr. Jindal with a round of applause. Please. We'll start with a formal welcome. I would request President to kindly present an uttariyo to our chief guest, which is very much a local way of welcoming our guests. Mr. Jindal, yeah, maybe extend a welcome to you. That's a local tradition. Without taking any further time, I would now request President ICC to please deliver his opening address. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for all being here. It is an honor and pleasure to welcome Mr Sajjan Jindal, Chairman, JSW Group. Sir, we thank you for joining us today in spite of your busy schedule. Sajjanji is an accomplished business leader and an inspirational entrepreneur, and of course, a great family man. He has led JSW on a transformational journey, contributing significantly to India's growth. Under his leadership, the group over the years has forayed into core sectors of the economy, such as steel, energy, infrastructure building, cement, and paints. And surprisingly, I don't know if it's a business or not, into sports. For his contribution and commendable work, he has been felicitated globally. He has been awarded the CEO of the Year 2019, the JRD Tata Award in 2017 for excellence in corporate leadership in metallurgic industry, among others. He was the first Indian to be elected as chairperson of the World Steel for 21-22. Sir, India has completed 75 years of independence, and our focus now is 2047. We are already the fifth largest economy in the world and aspire to become the third in a few years. We are at the cusp of becoming the manufacturing hub of the world. You have, in the last 4 decades, seen the transformation in Indian industry, opening up the economy. But we still have a few questions for you, sir, and we would love to hear your views on them. That how do we achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India? How do we achieve global standards of infrastructure and ease of doing business? How do we realize our dream for Vision 2047 to be a developed country? Sir, over to you. We are all eagerly awaiting to hear you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure to be here today in addressing at one of India's oldest chambers of commerce. ICC, that is what it is popularly known, and I'm aware that I'm speaking to a very elite group of people who are from the industry and who understand chambers and understand industry very well. And my idea today is to talk to you all about India, what I think India is going forward, as President Mr. Pradeep Sureka mentioned just now, very aptly, that today I was in Bangalore this morning, and Prime Minister was speaking through video conference, and he mentioned that this is Amrit Kal for us from 22 to 47. And he says that by 47, my aim is to make India a developed nation. which is a very tall order. It's not easy because 140 crore or 1.4 billion people is to take them into a developed category is a huge task. India is having different compartments. We have very elite group, very modern group, which can match up with anybody in the world, right? So we have those people also, but then we have very, very poor class as well. So that's what I'm going to try and address, how we should, what we should do, or what I feel that we all must do our bit to take this company, take this country to this new level. This chamber, I was told when I was doing some research, my office was doing some research, that this was set up by in conjunction with some industrialist led by G.D. Birla ji. So way back pre-independence. So it's a phenomenal heritage, phenomenal history that this chamber has. So compliments to ICC for keeping it going, and so it's really very, very interesting. And also I'm told that ICC is sort of leads the SME and MSME industries in the country, and especially in the Northeast, in this part of the country. So which is phenomenal. I was just discussing over tea, and I was told that there has been no women as the chairperson of this chamber till now. So maybe we have a new one coming up in the future. So let's see if that happens or not. So that's in Shalini. So let's see. Friends, today India is a 3.5 trillion economy. And growing, probably one of the fastest growing large economies in the world. We have another big economy which is growing equally good is Indonesia, which is also a big economy, but not like India, but still is also doing very well. And Vietnam, which is not so big an economy, but is also doing very well. But India at 3.5 trillion, and I was reading yesterday, Deputy Governor of RBI saying that by 26, India would be the fourth largest economy, beating Germany in the world. And then by 27, we should be number 3 largest economy, overtaking Japan. So I think it's a huge thing for us that an economy of Japan and Germany we will be overtaking as a country. So therefore, these are something which is really very, very interesting. I've been speaking for over 25 years, and I've been always saying that we as a generation, especially my generation, and I see a lot of people who are of my generation here and younger, of course, have seen this huge change in our country, where I have seen we did not have telephones, and we had to stay in the queue under this Tatkal scheme to get telephone or get car or get scooter. When we were young, very kids, I was told that Bajaj scooter was booked when a girl child was born, because in her wedding it would be given as a dowry, the scooter, and by the time in 18-20 years the scooter would come. And it's a real fact. I mean, we have grown up in that kind of an environment, and today we have probably the largest scooter manufacturing in the world, largest motorcycle manufacturing in the world, cheapest telecom in the world, best quality steel in the world, and you name it, our industries, everything is the best. But what I'm going to talk about is that the opportunity that we have, that all of us, you, me, every one of us have going forward. What a huge opportunity is there for us when India becomes third largest economy in the world, when we cross $5 trillion in next 2, 3, 4 years. So that's one big deal. But then whatever we have, it has taken us 75 years to get to $3.5 trillion economy, right? From 47 to 22, it has taken us 75 years. Going forward, we will do this, double our economy size from 3.5 to 7 trillion, maybe in next 7 years. By the end of this decade, we will be a $7 trillion economy. So can you imagine that all of us are busy doing whatever we are doing, and we think that we have done a great deal of job for our companies, respective companies. But just imagine that in next 7 years, you have to double what you have done, or not only double, you have to actually quadruple. You have to make it 4 times the size that it is today. If India has to become a $7 trillion economy. So each one of us has to think in that way. And I think that way. And that's why I want to urge each one of you to start thinking in that respect. Morgan Stanley has issued a report last night, which says that India will be a $7.5 trillion economy by 2031. And I think we can do better than that. That's my personal belief, that by 2032, 33, we should be a $10 trillion economy. So 3 times today's size we would be in 10 years time, 10 or maybe give and take 1 or 2 years. So that's a huge thing. It's absolutely humongous. If you sit when you go back home and you sit in your room and just think about it, that 3.5 trillion to 10 trillion in next 10 years. 10 years will come in a zippy. We will not even realize that it's now 10 years, and 3 times the size of this economy. And what Morgan Stanley has talked about is that the 3 things which is going to drive, I believe there are many things, but they have highlighted 3 things. One is offshoring. Second is energy transition, because the whole energy canvas is going to change from fossil fuel based energy to renewable energy, because the whole world is going to do that. But India is very fortunate that we will be able to do it, because we have a lot of sun, a lot of wind, and a lot of sea around us. So therefore, we can do energy transition rather smoothly relative to, let's say, in Europe or in some other parts of the world. And the third important area would be digital transformation. And that is also going to give a huge production benefit that we are going to get. Manufacturing sector, which most of us all are part of, today is about 14-15% of our economy of 3.5 trillion. So that is about $500 billion is the size of our manufacturing sector of India, which is actually nothing, which is very, very small. And the government wants, if we want to become a manufacturing hub of the world, the factory for the world, then we have to, our manufacturing must become 25%. Morgan Stanley is putting it up at 21%, but I believe that we have the capacity and capability to go to 25% of manufacturing. And that is what really gives me a lot of excitement. Every night I sleep and I dream of next morning to go back to office to do something new, something bigger, something more challenging, something more interesting. And that keeps me going, and I'm sure all of you are in the same boat. So therefore, I keep challenging my teams that you have to think that how to make it your business, whatever business you are, my different businesses, to 3x, 4x, how to make it 3 times, 4 times the business in the next 10 years, and maybe even more. So that is what is very interesting. For example, today JSW Steel is a 27 million ton steel company. Now, I've been telling my people that let us make a blueprint, let us make a plan that by some date, maybe 2030, 2032, how to make it a 100 million ton steel company, how to be the number 1 in the world from India. So, these kind of challenges, and first reaction of most of people in the organization or outside also is that, is it possible? What are we talking? 100 million tons? Nobody has created. I mean, if Mr. Ellen Mittal has got 100 million, he bought it through inorganic growth, right? Nobody has built 100 million ton capacity. So can we do it? But I said that is what the challenge is. Can we do it? Why can't we do it? When India would need 300 million tons, then if JSW Steel wouldn't make it, then who will make it? There's nobody else who can make it. This is the belief, this is the feeling that we have to give to our people, to our team, to our executives, that nobody else can do it if you can't do it. And if this country has to grow, then JSW Steel will have to step up and will have to do it. So similarly in the renewable energy, my team set a goal of 20 gigawatts, 20,000 megawatts by 2030. So we were discussing then. I said, okay, what is Government of India's target for renewable energy by the end of the decade? They said 450 gigawatts, 450,000 megawatts. I said, and you are only targeting 20,000. So that is, quite conservative. Why can't you make it 3x or 4x? What do you need for doing that? Let us start thinking. Let us start planning that way. And that is how, in every sector, whether it is power, whether it is paints, whether it is cement, whether it is anything, because if India has to grow 3 times from today in next 10, 12 years, then we have to grow in a very, very big way. So I think these are the things. Another area which is very positive for India, for all of us, is the China +1 policy. The whole world is now looking at India as a manufacturing factory or a manufacturing hub for the world, because everybody is sick and tired of China. Everybody wants an alternative to China, and a country of equivalent size can only match that of China is India. Of course, right now, I think as India, we are a bit slow. We are an elephant country. So we move a little slowly, but then surely. So, Vietnam is moving very rapidly, very quickly, and they have captured a lot of, low-hanging fruits that China gave to the world, or the world is looking at. So Vietnam is doing that. But in my view, this is the time for all of us to look at China +1, look at products which we can manufacture. I know Calcutta is very famous because a couple of my friends, they started to import a lot of stuff from China. And I used to always discourage them and tell them that, why are you doing this? They would go to, I don't know, some city, Guangzhou or some city in China, and buy furniture, office furniture, and this, that, toys, and that became the business for them. Not only Calcutta, I'm sure Delhi also, but I know these 2 friends of mine are from Calcutta, so that's why I'm talking about Calcutta, Kolkata. So, that must, the idea is that we must manufacture all these products in India, whether it is furniture, whether it is toys, whatever it is. Why should we bring from China? That kind of feeling also we must bring in ourselves, in our buyers, how we can do that. So these are not easy things, but can be done. I mean, we have done in IT. Our whole, Bangalore has taught us that how IT, we can lead the whole world in IT. In technology adoption, we are second to none as a country. We are very smart, and we have shown in telecom. We have shown that how we can leapfrog in technology. If we had Tatkal scheme to buy the landline, then today even a thelawala or a rickshawala is having a mobile phone, and his productivity has gone 10 times. So that's the thing we need to do in every field. And if we have the best telecommunication companies in India, which are in the best in the world, lowest, cheapest, qualitatively also one of the best, I would say. Some people may not agree with that about the quality, but still we are, I would say, is one of the best. We have one of the best, largest oil refinery in Reliance Industries, which is probably the best and the biggest in the world. If we can operate most complex, where you buy the worst quality or cheapest crude oil and produce best quality products out of that. So that is there. We have best quality software companies in India. We have JSW's Vijayanagar steel plant. Some of you have visited, which probably can rank as one of the best steel plants in the world. So if India can do these things, then we can do everything which can be the best. India will, as I said earlier, India will always remain in pockets. We can't expect that the whole country will get developed together. But once we develop as a country, as an economy, then the benefit to the bottom of the pyramid is sure to happen. The example for that, I was discussing with few friends and few contractors and Larsen Tubro and all these people we were discussing that, today the per day manpower cost is close to 800 rupees a day. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, it used to be 300-400 rupees. So it has doubled. And even then, getting the people who are building construction and stuff like that is very difficult. I mean, a lot of you are in the construction industry, you would know it, that it is really growing up rapidly. And I believe this will continue to grow very, very fast, the daily wages. And that is because people are not, there are not so many people, and the need is much greater than the availability of people. So therefore, but these are good signs, because once there is more spendable money, more surplus money in the pockets of people, the economy, they will spend more, they will buy better stuff. And that way the whole cycle of the economy will grow. So we should not, in fact, I was reading a book, Henry Ford, when he started the car plant in Detroit, early 1900s, he one day decided to double the salaries of all his employees. And his CFO came up to him that, what are you doing? And he said that, I'm doubling the salaries because I want to sell more cars. And these same people will buy more cars. And that is exactly what happened in the US, because then the salaries started galloping, and the purchasing power went up in the country, and people started spending more money, and the whole economy really started rising. So rather than saving, we have to get into the culture now of spending more, and then the economy will really shoot up in the world. Well, standing here in Kolkata and not talk about West Bengal is not fair, because Bengal is the place. Kolkata is the place where the whole India started, pre-independence and now post-independence also. Kolkata, really led the whole growth. All of us used to look at Kolkata to give the right signals, and then the whole country would, because Calcutta would wake up early because of sunrises earlier here than Bombay or Delhi. So everybody would wake up to what is happening in Calcutta, and then the rest of the country would behave. But unfortunately, over the last 30-40 years, I guess Calcutta has taken a little bit of a backseat. But I guess now the environment is absolutely fantastic. And I was telling Harsh that I was driving down from, I've come here after some time, especially during the day, and I saw that Calcutta looks amazing city. It really looks very clean. Roads are very nicely painted and very well paved, and I didn't find traffic jams or I was actually surprised, to tell you truthfully. And so that means, I mean, obviously you people live here, so you don't see the change, but I, as an outsider, really found a very real pleasant change. And I'm not speaking to the chief minister of the state. I'm speaking to all of you. It's a truth that Calcutta has really improved as a city. I just took one flyover, which was 7, 8, 9 kilometers, and cut across the whole city, just like Bangkok did that, right? So that's quite amazing. And obviously the government is doing a great job that they've cleaned up. It's not easy. Building new city is much easier than repairing or renovating or cleaning up the old city, old mess. Is very, very tough. Bombay is not able to do it now, but Kolkata has done to whatever I saw. So it really looks nice. So therefore, I believe that, now is the time for Calcutta's industrial revolution to start happening again, because there is a perfect environment, and government is very supportive. There is no man hours lost in the state anymore. So the negativism which was there about Kolkata a few years ago probably has completely gone, and this would be a good time for all of us to really look at. We in the JSW group, we are mineral based industry, so we are where the raw materials are. And that's why Kolkata, Bengal, I was very keen to build a steel plant in Bengal when Buddhadev Bhattacharya ji was chief minister. But unfortunately, we could not get the mines allotted to us, and that's why that project did not happen. And now that project is happening in Orissa because of the iron ore mines. But still, we build a cement plant. We are building some more industries here, but maybe not of the same scale what we are doing in other parts of the country. But still, because you all are here, I would rely more upon your investments in the state for taking the state to the different level. Finally, friends, I thought that I would just summarize my so many years of learnings, and I thought I will just talk about them. What I feel are the important things for my journey so far and whatever I've done. One is about team building. I believe very strongly in my organization regarding team building. Nobody leaves my organization. Once they join the organization, they really believe in me. They believe in the organization. They stick by the organization. They work, and so that is one very strong point about my organization. Whatever I have achieved is through my people, because ultimately they are the ones who are building. I can only provide the vision. I can provide the leadership. I can motivate them. But beyond that, it is them who are running the show, who are doing the thing. So according to me, team building is very important. Second, very important aspect is not to over leverage ourselves. Case in point, we have seen in the past 4-5 years since this IBC has come in, a lot of groups have fallen by the side because of over leveraging. You become very ambitious. You borrow a lot of money. You think that because we entrepreneurs are very optimistic. Normally, if you're not optimistic, we will not take risks, right? But you have to have a measured optimism as far as debt is concerned. From borrowed money, you can expand to one extent. So therefore, over leveraging should be measured, and one should not over leverage. I also at one time had over leveraged myself, and after that one instant I realized this was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 23 years ago, and then I decided that I will never over leverage myself. But of course, leveraging, there is different definitions for what level of leverage is good and what is not good. But as far as one is concerned, one should be little bit conservative as far as leveraging is concerned. Third point is that we have to think from a vision perspective. We must have a vision, a global vision. We should not have a tunnel vision. We must have a very broad, very global vision. We must make a master plan which is world class, which is world scale. Start small, because you are not supposed to leverage too much. So start small, but have a master plan which is of world class, world scale. And that is very important. I mean, that is what we are doing. Like for example, when I started building Vijayanagar way back in 95, Vijayanagar steel plant, it was planned to be a 1.6 million ton steel plant. And at that time, 1.6 million was a very big. Tata Steel was 2 million tons at that time. So we said, okay, 1.6 million is very big. But still, I had a vision plan that why not we make a 15 million ton steel plant? We will make ultimately 15 million ton steel plant. That was the vision. And in next 3 or 4 years, it will be a 25 million ton steel plant, world's largest steel plant at a single location. So therefore, this is similarly in every field we can do that. Our master plan should be that it should be of global scale, and we must make in India for the world markets. That is something which is very important. Market should not be a constraint. It should be, and our mind should not be a constraint. We must think that we will replace China, we will replace every other country in the world, and we will be the best, lowest cost, best quality, best service company in the world. And that is what we should work towards. Fourth point, which I feel which is very close to my heart, is the impact on society. That how all our actions, all our industries, wherever we are, how to benefit the society. We can't imagine to be an oasis in the ocean of misery. We can't in the ocean of poverty. We can't do that. We have to, if we have a factory anywhere, we must adopt the villages around. We must provide them whatever needs of drinking water, small things. If we have a small factory, then small things at least we should meet their requirements of drinking water, sanitation, some work with the PWD or with the government to help the hard infrastructure of the villages. That really I have seen in my life, that I have done that everywhere I've gone, that I have always worked in the villages. Sangeeta, my wife, she works alongside in every site of ours. We will create a societal impact whereby they are not cursing us. Because can you imagine, you are operating in a factory where all the lights are, it's like New York inside the campus, and outside there is no electricity. And so then obviously these people will curse you, and your trucks are coming and going and roads are breaking. And so if you take them along with you, then you will get the benefit directly or indirectly. But that's, I believe very strongly into that. Fifth point is sustainability. Today it has become very important that ESG is very important. Governance is very important. So it's very essential that we look at long-term sustainability of whatever business we do, whether it is green, how to make it more green, even if it is not very economical today. But I can promise you that if you did that, it will become more economical. It will become more profitable if you did it in a green manner. If you reduced your carbon emissions, if you did things which helped the environment. So that is another important area. And finally, the sixth point, which again is very dear to me, is about fitness. That we must all be super fit. I know you are all from Kolkata, and Kolkata has very good mithais and very good milk products and stuff like that, and we tend to eat a lot. But I think fitness is something which is absolute essential. And I spend a lot of time on fitness. I do every day. I work out in the morning in the gym, and every evening I play tennis in the club in the evening. Whatever time I finish, or whatever time I have to take. Today I didn't, because I woke up really early. But otherwise, every day I work out in the gym wherever I am. If I'm traveling in the hotel, I will swim. I will work out. I do heavier weights than I did when I was 40 years old. And at 40, I did heavier when I was 20 years old. So it has been very, as they say, as you climb up the mountains, it gets harder and harder. So be it, and I do it, and it's very interesting. And because the belief is that if you earn wealth, if you are earning, then if you can't enjoy it when you are old, if you don't enjoy it, then what's the point? So therefore, health is very important. So with this, I think, thank you very much. I've taken all the time that was allotted to me. So thank you very much. And thanks to the President, Mr. Surekha once again, and to the incoming Vice President. Best of luck to the Vice President for inviting me here today, and to the Secretary General, Mr. Singh. Thank you very much for inviting me today here. And thank you so much.
Mr. Jindal, thank you. I must say, it has been full of learnings, and I have no doubt that when Prime Minister speaks about becoming a developed nation, I think leaders like you will have an important role to play, and you'll be playing. I think one of the biggest takeaway is that you are able to think big, and you're also able to motivate your team to also share your vision. And then you share your 6 tips for the leaders and people who manage. And I think the last one is very important. I saw some of the tummies going inside as you were speaking. And I think that is definitely a takeaway. With your permission, could we take some questions from the floor? I think I would request President itself to kick off the discussion. Yes.
I had two questions for you. One, you did briefly talk about skill. When traveling, I hear about unemployment and I hear about unemployable. So that's a very, very big challenge today. You did mention about the construction industry. So that was one question I had, that how do we mitigate? Of course, the government has a skill development program, but we as a private sector, we as chambers or government, semi-government or non-government organization, how do we meet this challenge? Because if we have to have a global vision, if there is no skill in this country, we'll never achieve this global vision. The second one is more towards your sports. You have a keen interest in sports. You own a cricket team or a football team. You are supporting Olympiads. So do you look at that as a CSR activity or as a business? Have you been able to make business sense out of it? Thank you.
So let me take the second question first, because that's more interesting and easier to answer. It is, it's neither a CSR activity nor a business as of now. It is more, I would say, brand building in a way. Of course, it started with my passion towards sports, and then my son shared my passion even more, even with, I think, with 3x or 4x of my passion is his passion. So, so that's how it started. But then we realized that sports is a phenomenal way, or it's a real soft way of putting your brand. So and we saw that when Neeraj Chopra won the Olympics, the first athlete medal, gold medal, it gave us a lot of brownie points, and as a group. I mean, Prime Minister called me, and you know, he himself told me that, you know, you've done phenomenal service to the nation. So I mean, these things help. So therefore, we have upped our spend on sports in a big way. Football, cricket, of course, our country is mad about cricket, especially football. This part of the country is mad about, and so that's the thing about sports. Coming to skilling, I think India. It's very, what your question is very, very correct. It's very hard to skill people, but what we all are doing in our individual capacities as companies, we are trying to skill our people on the job, and also we set up training institutes. We have adopted ITIs. I mean, in our group, we have adopted some 25 or 30 ITIs to skill people. But this is an unending situation. But like Larsen and Toubro is skilling so many people, all the contractors, I'm sure everybody does skilling. But this is this remains an issue which we have to handle.
Mrs. Nopani, I think. Since the gender issue was raised, so I thought you should ask the question.
Thank you so much for a really interesting address. I have to say that I've had the good fortune to know Mr. Jindal from the time when he lived in Hisar, and I've seen his meteoric growth and his strength, you know, growing from strength to strength. It was a really interesting discussion that you gave us today, things to think about today. Right from the global perspective to how India can grow, to the company perspective, to frankly, the personal perspective. One thing that you talked about, you said that one of the key things for your growth was that people never leave you. And that's amazing. I was just wondering if you can give us a little bit more information, how you achieve that.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a very good question. I think, you know, eventually in anything, whether it's country, company, family, anything, it's all about leadership, right? It's one man which makes or breaks the situation. So, so in the organization, how I how I lead in and how I make sure that I'm a big motivator. I call myself Chief Motivating Officer in the organization. And my main role is that, for example, and I'm a shop floor man. I enjoy being, because I'm in the manufacturing industry, and that too heavy industry, heaviest of the heavy industries, steel. So I go to the shop floor a lot. I, at least once a month or twice a month, I will go to some factory or the other. I meet every worker. I will shake hands with them. I'll have lunch or dinner with them. I'll play a volleyball type of game or a football with them. So everybody knows that in my organization that if I come, then there will be a different environment. We have gone through, every industry goes through ups and downs, and when I was starting up, we went through pretty difficult days, but I never sort of let them feel the stress. And I said that this stress is for me, not for you guys. You don't have to worry. So therefore people connect with me very quickly. And I don't know, the challenge is for me also is that how do I professionalize this? This is right now, it's too personal, too connected with me. Now I'm really working on it, that how to professionalize. Not very easy, but that's what is the next challenge. But this is how I've been handling it till now.
Mr. Patodia.
Mr. Jindal, thank you for a very, very inspiring talk. And I think a lot of people will start dreaming the way you're dreaming from today onwards. I have two questions. One is, India is very well known for its knowledge-based industry across the world. What is the next big thing which you think India will come up with, for which it will be known for? One. Second question is, how do you benchmark Indian quality against global standards? Do we need to up our game there? How do we benchmark our quality against global standards? Do we up our game there? Because as it is Indian products, the respect which we should probably get is not as great, as the perception is not as great. How do you think we should up our game there?
So again, let me answer your second question first. About the quality. When Japan started to export their products, they were, whether it was their pens, they used to do that pilot pen, and I remember in the childhood we used to get, and they were all, or even their cars were all Toyotas and all. They were all very basic and very cheap cars, and everything was low cost. And we used to think that, okay, it's Japanese versus German. But gradually, slowly, they kept on improving their quality. And it became that once you buy a Japanese car, then you don't have to go to the garage for its repairs. And then they started to produce premium products and even better products, and Lexuses and other cars. So same is the situation here. So there are two ways to handle it. That one is that you feed the domestic market. Then we Indians have this chalta hai attitude. कि भाई ठीक है, ये भी बिक रहा है तो चलने दो ना, क्या प्रॉब्लम है. But if you get into export market, that's what we did in JSW Steel. We started to export a percentage, 25% of our capacity, steel capacity. And we realized first shipment was made to Australia. I remember in 94, our first shipment was made to Australia, and it all got rejected, 100%. Full shipload of galvanized steel got rejected. And I personally visited because that was a lot of money. And, I said that what happened. And we realized that that shipment was made during the monsoon period in Bombay. It was lying at the port before it got loaded onto the vessels. It was in the open. And the water seeped in through the packaging. Packaging was not the best quality packaging. So then I realized, and it got, galvanized steel catches white rust. And it got rejected. So somehow I settled the account there. And then from there, I flew to Japan from Australia. And there I picked up one foil, which was nicely packed from one of the steel mills, from a trader, and sent it to India by container. And then I came, and then after 15, 20 days, that coil came. And then we replicated the packaging. We created the machines which made the packaging for that steel. And thereafter, we never looked back. So export helps us in improving our quality a lot, because then immediately you go to that standard. Otherwise, you can't export. So if you really, you have to be adamant about it. You have to be a little jiddi about it, that I have to export my product. My quality has to be of that order, that it must get to that level. So that is how I believe we can achieve the quality standards. And the first question was about, yeah, what is the next big? So it's not very easy for me to, otherwise I would get into that industry immediately. but I think China Plus One is a huge opportunity for India. I'm convinced about it. Wherever I go and I meet Americans or meet Germans or Europeans, they all are looking towards India to feed them with our products. So I'm convinced that India has a huge opportunity going forward.
Sajjan.
That was a fantastic talk. I'll pick up something you were while answering Shalini's question about I'll manage the stress. You were, as you say to your colleagues, that you will take the stress in the business. Now, how do you do that personally? But also in a volatile business like steel, how do you do it as a business leader? Managing the stress of the company as in a volatile industry, and also as a person, as a leader of a business.
Right. So, one thing is that steel is a volatile industry. So somebody who enters this business must have nerves of steel. Otherwise, better not get into it. So, for example, last year we made a EBITDA of 40,000 crores and a net profit of 21,000 crores. And this year we made a loss in the second quarter of 1,000 crores. So, but that's okay. It's part of our cycle. Everybody in the world will do that. And so it doesn't give, of course, if I say there is no stress or you don't feel bad about it, you do feel bad about it. But it's okay. It's part of the cycle. You go through ups and downs, and that's the fun about this industry. Second is that attitudinally, I don't take stress. I don't get stressed from my childhood, because I believe I'm a fatalistic person. I believe in fate. I believe in that if I do good, then only good will happen to me. So that's how I think. Maybe right or wrong, but that's how I think, that I'm an honest guy. I will do things honestly. And if things go bad to me, then something's wrong somewhere else, not with me. That's the thought process. So therefore, I don't take stress. And of course, the physical fitness, the sports, my friends, all these things help me a lot. So, and my wife, of course. So.
I think a lot of the values which you are sharing with us, I see some of them coming from your father, Shri O.P. Jindal ji, because he was also a man of steel nerves, and the way he expanded, he could think big. I think a lot come from him. Mr. Mohanka will have a question for you from the dais.
Thank you. So most of JSW Group's businesses coincidentally happen to be linked to government policy. Like, for example, if you look at steel, cement, energy, for example. So how would you rate our country's ease of doing business, specifically in context of the export levies on duty as far as steel is concerned?
You're asking a question to a wounded tiger. No. So I think, government policies, you are right. All of my businesses are highly influenced by the government policies. And I spend a lot of time in policy advocacy in the government. But whatever policy that I advocate with the policymakers has to be beneficial to the country. That is my first premise. Otherwise, I will not go. Sometimes my people come and tell me that we need to get this policy changed, and then I say that this will only benefit us. How is it helping the country? So I'm not going to talk about it. So that's first very important point. But as far as ease of doing business is concerned, I think in our industry, this is an issue, and we have to handle it in a way that there is no other way, but we have to tackle it. It does create problems. I mean, this duty on steel is obviously not helping us, but it has the feeling in the minds of the government or the policymakers was that inflation was their first agenda, that to cut the inflation, and they thought that steel prices have really gone up, and it's hitting the inflation. It is hitting government projects, and they didn't want government projects because contractors were going back on their projects. They were saying that steel has gone through the roof and we can't complete these projects. So therefore they did it, which we said, okay, it's fine with us if it is temporary. If it is on long-term basis, then it will hurt the industry. So which government also feels that there is no need for them to do for long-term.
We have a question coming from Bombay. Can we have it? Mr. Ameya Prabhu? Yeah, you could ask the question.
Thank you.
He's on this.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Sajjan ji, for speaking to us today. And sorry I couldn't be there in person. But I hope that, when I next year, post Mehul's, when I'll be taking over as president, will be the first non-Calcutta president. So we do hope to go national the way you've gone national. And so take that forward. Sajjan ji, I was very inspired by what you said on, dealing with not taking stress, dealing with, philosophically fatalist. I think that's a great way to look at life in general. So I had essentially two questions. One is, how does, we all speak about successes, and you've built a phenomenal company, phenomenally successful company, but you also gave a great example of your first export order in Australia and how that went. So question one would be, how does one deal with failure? What is the approach that one should take towards failure, and how does one grow from failure? That's one. And number two is, again, I love what you've done with sports and paths. Been doing a great job on that. But when do you think, what more do you think we could do as a nation to really achieve our potential to get, even today, for example, while we are doing better than when the Olympic gold quest and all started, I think if you see, given our population, we are still not on the approach of the medal tables, be it at an Olympics or at an Asian Games. So what more do you think what is lacking that we can do as a country to get to that level? Is it a cultural thing? I know we are doing a lot on policy, but what is it do you think that is, and when can we get there to that level? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ameya. Good seeing you. Ameya, this question about sports, how do we take? I think we abdicated our responsibility as corporates in the past. We have, sort of left it to the government to handle sports through SAI, Sports Authority of India. And, in public sector, how many businesses have succeeded compared to private sector? I think none, not even one. I can't even name one business where public sector has outbeated private sector. Nothing. I'm not undermining public sector, but this is a fact. So therefore, sports must happen in the private sector. I mean, JSW Group has taken the lead in the country, but I expect that now a lot of groups will follow suit, and we must have there is an Inspired Institute of Sports in Bellary in Vijayanagar. There should be at least 100 such institutes. 5 we are building, but there should be 100 institutes at least in India, where in every district headquarters or everywhere, if we have similar sort of institutes, then we will be able to do justice to our sports thing, where we, as a 1.4 billion strong population country, we can be on the podium for every sporting activity. So that's on sports. Coming to the failure, how do we deal with the failure? I mean, I wouldn't know anybody on earth who has not failed in his life. So everybody fails, and a lot of books are written about it, but I'm not a great book reader. So, but I go by my experience, or I've whatever experience I've seen of within the family or outside. But I believe that failure, you have to take it as in the right spirit. and use it as a stepping stone for growth. It's easier said than done, I know, but you have to. You can't just leave things once you feel that you are a failure. You have to go at it with the double speed, with double zeal, double passion to make it a success. This is what I would say.
Mr. Kaul.
Sajjanji, it was very nice hearing the motivational aspect, not just of you personally, of how you've grown your business and how, in fact, you also looked at one of your main failures, which was a learning exercise. We're talking of that role that you had to import to find out the difference. But coming to India, which is a huge motivational story globally today, I think it perhaps began when we had a crisis, the 91-92 crisis. Now, at that point of time, I think India was ranked something like maybe 16, 17 in terms of GDP in the sort of rank of nations. Today, we are just overtaken UK, and hopefully we'll overtake Germany in another 2 or 3 years' time. But I mean, why is it that India, neither the corporates, to my knowledge, nor the government also, to my knowledge, is paying the same attention to the, the development index? Because our HDI, our Human Development Index, that time in 91, 92, was, I think, 112, 113. Today, it's 130. And as the way we've grown and got leadership in many industries, I mean, today, you mentioned yourself 2-3 industries where India is #1 in the world. But on the HDI, it's been the reverse. I mean, others have improved more than us. But why is it when we are doing better than the others in many other things, why is it that this lacuna remains? Would you have any thoughts or suggestions? And people like you keep meeting the government and PM, etc. Maybe this should be an area where, like we say, PM says now, on our competitive index, we will become 50 in another 2 years' time. There should be some sort of statement, public statement, and corporates and government should have a vision on this.
No, I think it's a very important point, but I don't have any concrete suggestion or idea about it. But I will study about it. Maybe I'll offline have a chat with you about this HDI, the Human Development Index, what that entails and what can be done about it. But if what you're saying, if that is the case, which I'm sure it is, then we need to, as a country, we need to really do something about it.
We don't really talk about it.
Yeah, because I don't even know about it, to tell you frankly. So therefore, it's a serious matter. We need to really understand that.
Mr. Sethia, please wait.
Sir, good afternoon to you, and thank you for being with us in Calcutta. It's an honor. Due to my severe tunnel vision, being from the logistics industry, when you are talking about the logistics problem, that's what I picked up. And taking from your observation that we are going from 14% to about 21, 22, 25% of GDP in manufacturing. I feel maybe because I'm biased being from the logistics industry, I think logistics will play a big role, a big enabler in this journey for the manufacturing industry. You are a heavy user of logistics as it is. Tarapur, Wasind, Salem, Vijayanagar, everywhere there's so much work that we do with you. How do you see as an industry we can become an enabler for the growth for the manufacturing? The government is doing a lot of work in the logistics space, but what as an industry can we do for our principals, such as you, in helping you achieve your targets?
So I really don't know, but I thought logistics is playing a very important role, and we are not facing, I mean, the problem doesn't come to me. So that means I presume there is no problem. So, but I think logistics, what I know is that our cost of logistics in India is still very high. Land logistics is very high. To become competitive, globally competitive, we have to really bring down our cost of logistics. And that is why government is really spending a lot of money right now in improving our highways, and dedicated freight corridors are being constructed, and very big mass transit highways are being coming up. And so I think over the years, a lot of improvement has happened, but a long way to go in logistics. But logistics have to play a very important role going forward. If India becomes a $10 trillion economy, I mean, at $3.5 trillion, there is a chaos everywhere. You see in the cities, in the highways, so at 10 trillion, 3 times this size, what it will entail is unthinkable. So we better pull up our socks in the next 10 years.
Mr. Barua?
Good afternoon, Sajjanji, and it's a really good motivational speech that we heard. Considering your speech, I would like to understand two parts. I mean, very simple way. That's one is that you are talking about the Indian economy to be 3.5 trillion to 7 trillion. That is a Prime Minister ambition. Now, this 3.5 to 5 trillion, actually, it was the Prime Minister agenda in the election, and we are really struggling considering the present geopolitical scenario. So how do you think that in the next 7 years of time, this 3.5 to 7 trillion, what are the growth factors will take place, or maybe growth drivers in terms of what the industries will the growth drivers, or some policy changes that can take this Indian economy from 3.5 to 7 trillion? That's the one part. And the second part is, of course, as you have mentioned, that your JSW from 25 million, you are now great ambition that you will be making it to 100 million. That's your ambition. Would like to understand a little bit, what are the growth factors you are considering? Internal, external, new horizon expansion, new business, what you are expecting to make it 25 to 100 million. It's a great kind of an inspiration, will be with us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Barua. So 3.5 to 7 trillion will happen across industries, across businesses, everywhere it will everything will double up. As the purchasing power improves, the economy is growing at 7-8%. If you multiply that on a CAGR basis, then you go to 7 trillion in next 8-9 years. So that's just a simple mathematics, and that will mean that everything will need double. We will consume everything double. So that's the thing about 7 trillion. Coming to JSW Steel, well, this 100 million is more of a metaphor that I used, which I used to my organization, that why we are thinking small, why are we thinking in incremental increasing the capacity? Why can't we think in terms of leapfrog? Why can't we have a vision which matches my country's vision, which matches my Prime Minister's vision? That is what I tell, that why are we thinking so small? If the country is going to become 10 trillion and 300 million ton of steel has to be consumed in the country, then JSW Steel will have to make 100 million. Otherwise, 300 banega nahi. If JSW Steel won't make 100 million, then 300 nahi banega. That is what I'm convincing myself, and I'm convincing my people that agar main nahi banaunga, to banega nahi. So better we make. So better we work hard. Better we earn more money. Better we build more factories. So this is how we start the discussion and we start the journey. So there's a lot of debate, then a lot of heated arguments happen that we will then leverage ho jayega. Why will leverage happen? We will raise more equity. We will do something, but we have to make 100 million. So let us make a roadmap. So these are the discussions, interesting discussions that we have, and sometimes they fructify, sometimes they don't, but at least we have some ambition, some ideas.
Mr. Sharma?
Shall we make it a
last?
So good afternoon. My name is Prashant Sharma. Most people know me from the healthcare background because of a hospital that we have here called Charnak Hospital. But another hat that we have is a steel making capacity. So we have about 4 plants, mainly in the secondary space, which are spread over Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Our current capacity is about 500,000. We are etching towards becoming 1 million ton by about 2025. My question is pertaining to most of the steel manufacturers from Eastern India are mostly the secondary players, coal-based, DRI, and downstream. What should be, according to you? I mean, you've done such phenomenal growth in your organization. I visited your plant also. It's a resort park. It's not a steel plant. It's amazing. And the kind of growth which you have driven, and I mean, it's so inspiring in so many ways. What do you think should be the roadmap for smaller players, million below, over the next decade or so?
So Prashant, you mentioned about you are also in healthcare. So I forgot about healthcare. Yesterday, I was with somebody who is very big in healthcare in India. And he was telling me that he's building some 25 hospitals, each one of 750 bedded hospitals in different parts of the country. And all he came to me for steel, that is all steel buildings, all hospitals. So that's what he was telling me. That's why we were sitting and discussing. But, and he said that these many hospitals we are building and we will not be able to still meet the demand of the people, the requirements. It's unbelievable. Whenever that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, that I'm really, I get flabbergasted by these numbers that everyone is talking about. Whichever industry you touch, he's talking about 10 times, 15 times the capacity that I'm doing in next 5 years, 6 years. So that's on the healthcare. Coming to steel specific, I think you are from 500,000 to 1 million, 100% growth you're doing in the next 3 years. It's quite phenomenal. It's very, very appreciative, very good capacity you are growing. But long term, you have to look at some niche products. If you continue to produce products which are like TMT, and which is what most of the Eastern sector is doing, one blast furnace one 5 million ton blast furnace can overthrow so many steel plants, these secondary. So you have to be very careful, and you have to think about it, that what is the niche that you should do. In my opinion, I don't have a very clear answer to that, but yeah.
I know there are many more who want to ask you. But
one more before we end, I would like to extend this invitation to visit Vijayanagar. That is my pride of place, and I really enjoy Vijayanagar, building Vijayanagar. So as Prashant said that he has visited, and some of you have also visited. Anybody wants to visit, maybe from the chamber, we can organize a nice event. Till February, it's great time of the year to visit, because Hampi is close by, very, very close. We have all the facilities, and you will be taken care as a house guest. So, yeah, that'll be absolutely fantastic. And there are flights now from Bangalore and Hyderabad every day, so it's very easy to get to Vijayanagar, and the airport is right in the steel plant. So it's very, 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 very interesting. You really love it. So please make a plan and please come. I will be there when all of you are coming. So it'll be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jindal, for your kind offer. And may I now request Mr. Monka for proposing a vote of thanks.
It's a great privilege to deliver the closing vote of thanks to conclude this very engaging and enriching interaction with Mr. Jindal. I extend my serious and sincere thanks to Mr. Jindal, Chairman of JSW Group, for his gracious presence and providing us with a thought-provoking session on not only the economic growth drivers in the country, but for very candidly sharing with us his life mantras. And if he would permit me, I would just like to add 2 more to his list, which is passion and risk-taking ability. Mr. Jindal was one of the very few who took a big bet early on in his career about moving to Corex technology. And I talk about passion because though it didn't work out as he expected to start with, but he made sure that it was successful. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us, that though we may make certain decisions in life, it's about seeing it through till the very end. So thank you very much for being with us this afternoon, and Godspeed. Thank you.
And before we close, I will request President to kindly present a small token to our chief guest. So let this meeting end with a huge round of applause for a thoroughly engaging session, for an amazing session. Please join us for IT. Thank you.